Good afternoon, evening, everybody. It is Steve Lookner from Agenda Free TV. You know, I should shrink this a little bit for you. Or maybe I should move it up a little bit. Should I shrink it or move it up? I'll move it up a little bit. We are coming to you live with breaking news updates, and there has been new fighting between Israel and Hamas in Gaza, and you're looking at a live view of, I believe this is northern Gaza from Israel. And just before I came on the air, I have seen multiple reports saying that Prime Minister Netanyahu has decided to halt aid to Hamas, to Gaza, over this new fighting. So Barak Ravid, for example, says, a senior Israeli official says, Prime Minister Netanyahu has decided to close all crossings to the Gaza Strip and halt the delivery of humanitarian aid in response to what Israel says is Hamas's violation of the ceasefire. A little earlier today, the IDF announced that, about an hour ago, the IDF said in response to the blatant violation of the ceasefire agreement earlier today by Hamas, the IDF has begun a series of strikes against Hamas terror targets in southern Gaza. So, Israel accusing Hamas of violating the ceasefire, Israel accusing Hamas fighters of attacking Israeli soldiers, and Israel has carried out strikes already today against Hamas targets in Gaza. And now we're hearing multiple reports that Netanyahu has decided to close all crossings to the Gaza Strip and halt humanitarian aid to the Gaza Strip. Amakai Stein with Jerusalem Post is reporting the same thing. So it would certainly seem that the ceasefire agreement is at risk. You know, I may have footage from a little while ago of some of the new strikes by Israel. I need to pull it up here. Let's see here. Did that download work? Give me a moment. All right, I gotta try to get this video downloaded here. Give me one moment here. I should be able to get it. I thought I had some footage from earlier, from a short while ago before we came on the air. But let me just pull that up here. So, breaking news going on in the Middle East. Where is... Then there's another video. I don't think I can show you this. AFP has a video supposedly of injured people in Gaza after the Israeli airstrikes. I can't verify that video. I'm going to look at it myself here. But I think I might have video of a little earlier of the airstrikes. All right, so we're going to get you updates on the situation, the rapidly developing situation in the Middle East, in Gaza. Also, we'll talk about this robbery at the Louvre Museum in Paris and get you updated on that. A quick thanks to our moderators. Ruth Krafasi is here. Beth Mythical is here moderating over there on YouTube. Thank you very much. And Linda Belk, Larry, and Misha moderate for us on X and on Twitch. Thanks to our moderators there. I Got That Fire and Riff Tracks are moderating. And thanks to our Facebook mods as well. Really appreciate all of our moderators. And also thanks to K. Clow for subscribing on Twitch. Thank you, Titan74, for your support. Titan74 thinks everything was going fine until Hamas ruined it. Thanks Cindy and Kerry Poteet and Lynn Downey for being members, and Dirt Diver 1990, I remember. Thanks Patricia Grace for your support. Jason D in Colorado, Jessica, Jason, and Eddie. Thank you, Megan Turner, for your support. Thanks Debbie James for being a member, and thanks Patricia Grace for the memberships. That's very nice of you. All right, now let me see if I can play you this video here, which I believe has some video on it from earlier of airstrikes. Let me also pull something else up here. Give me a moment here. But again, new strikes by Israel on Gaza. Oh, I got the update about the aid being halted. I have the update about the aid being halted. Look at this, guys. Look at this from Associated Press. Wow. An Israeli security official says the transfer of aid into Gaza is halted after a Hamas ceasefire violation. Now, obviously, the transfer of aid into Gaza is an important part of the ceasefire agreement. So this is certainly, I mean, if this keeps going on, there's no ceasefire agreement, basically. But there you go. When was the ceasefire deal announced? What day was it? I have to look that up. We covered it. It was a few days ago. When did I'm looking, signed, effective October 10th. So it was about a week ago, about 8 days ago. About 8 days ago is when it came into effect. So we're 8 days after it came into effect. Yasmin says Hamas does not claim the alleged attack in Rafah. Well, we'll get to more of the details in a second. Now can I find you the... Oh yes, see, look, guys, I have some video from earlier of the strikes, of some of the strikes, I believe it is. I believe these are some of the Israeli strikes earlier. Now what I have to do is get this on the screen for you. So let me do this. This is from AFP. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm taking the live off of the screen, and I'm going to show you this. Is this going to work? Okay, so this video is from earlier, and I'm going to jump around. Hold on. Hang on. We got to make this clear for you guys. All right, this is going to say earlier today. This is about maybe an hour ago, okay? This video I'm about to show you. See, it says earlier today, but it's from about an hour ago. This is via AFP. And I believe on this video we see some of the strikes. Let me play this and see what we see. I got to forward it here. I had it all queued up. Okay, hold on. So give it a moment here. I got to get it queued up. Sun goes down. Sun goes down. Now look what happens. See right here? Look at this right here. I just got to let it play. Camera pans over, and then we get, where is it there? Right there. See that? Look at that. Again, this was about an hour or so ago. Oh, it's Gaza. I should say view of Gaza. So this is a clip from earlier today. It's playing. Gonna see what else is on this video. We're at 7:26. Let me forward it a little bit. So you see smoke there. Oh, look at this right here. Now keep watching. Again, this is from about an hour ago. Oops. I think you're going to see another smoke column come up there. Right there? See that rising in the middle there? About an hour ago. So my guess is that these might have been, I mean, I don't really know what else it would be. This happened around the time Israel said it was launching strikes in Gaza, new strikes. So it could be something else, but the timing suggests that this is part of their airstrikes. Now let me forward it a little bit and see what else we have. Yeah, I mean, you can see if I just let it play here, you'll see there's more smoke coming up from about an hour ago. So remember, as we just reported, as we just told you, multiple outlets, including AP, says Israel has announced a halt to aid into the Gaza Strip. Israel has said they have stopped allowing aid to go into Gaza Strip after what Israel calls new ceasefire violations by Hamas. And Israel has launched strikes in Gaza in response to alleged ceasefire violations by Hamas, and it is stopping aid. Hey, thanks to Deshark for the memberships. That's really kind of you. Deshark gave 20 people memberships. Hey, make sure you thank Deshark or anybody else if they give you a membership or a gift subscription. Thanks, Tyler Becker. Happy birthday, Tyler. Thank you for your support. Thanks, Weaselman, our member, Gamer Chris, Silent Hero, Karen61, Cindy. Thanks for being a longtime member. Titan74, thanks for your support. Oh, look at this. Look at this. This is. What else do we have here? The camera pans around. This is from before we came on the air, about an hour ago. Look at that. Wow. There you go. There you go. I have not seen this footage until now. But this was from before we came on the air. Again, about an hour ago or so. And this certainly looks to be footage of some of the Israeli strikes in Gaza. Now I have my eye on we have a live shot too, but it's dark there now. I'm not seeing anything on the live shot right now, but I'll keep an eye on the live shot too. Now the live shots of northern Gaza, I don't know if this is from northern Gaza. I thought the strikes were supposed to be in southern Gaza, but maybe this shot this is not the same shot as the live shot. This is a shot from AFP. So this I don't know exactly where this shot is pointing at Gaza from. It's from Israel, I assume, but I don't know which part of Gaza. Israel did say, yes, that they were attacking Gaza, Hamas targets. Let me see if there's anything else on this video here that we've been showing you. This is a replay from a little earlier. Okay, the smoke clears. Is there any other smoke coming up? Oh, hold on. Is there another one? Let's see. Is there another one here? Did they get another one? Camera panning around. Camera panning around. It's almost 360. Oh, maybe that was another one. I guess it probably might have been. A short time ago. I wonder if President Trump will post about these new developments. Again, as it says here, this is from earlier today, probably about an hour ago, maybe even a little less, but right around an hour ago. I wanted to just show you. I hadn't even seen this footage yet, but this footage appeared to capture, from AFP, appeared to capture some of the new Israeli strikes in Gaza. Now let me just forward a little bit and see if there's anything else on this. I don't know that there's anything else on this clip here. See, it gets darker there. Well, look at this. Watch. Look here. Look right in here. You'll see it. I think we see another one. Do we see another one right in here coming up? Maybe? Give it a second. It's so dim. I thought maybe we see another one in a few seconds. It's so hard to say. Might have to forward it a few seconds. Maybe right in here? Hold on. So hard to see. I might have been wrong about that. Then it gets dark. Is that it for this clip? Let's see. Okay. I think for that clip it's okay. Let's go back to the live shot now. Now we're going to go back to the live shot. Now this is a live shot, so I need to get rid of this one, need to close this, need to turn the volume on for the live shot. Here's the live shot. I need to make it say live again. And again, breaking news, breaking news. An Israeli security official says the transfer of aid into Gaza is halted after what Israel says is a Hamas ceasefire violation. I should change the Israel strikes Gaza and halts aid after Hamas I need to shrink my headline a bit. Israel strikes Gaza and halts aid after Hamas, in quotes, ceasefire violation. Thank you, Just Mike. Just Mike says, I thought they signed a peace agreement. The peace agreement was signed 9 days ago. Hold on, I have some more updates coming for you. Thank you, In Liberty and Guns We Trust, for your support, who says the IDF violated every ceasefire they've ever entered into multiple times. In Liberty and Guns We Trust says, I don't want to keep paying for their wars. Thank you, Miss Curvy, for your support. Miss Curvy says, I believe there will always be conflict in the Middle East. Thanks, Emma Jane, our member. Hey, New Girl, our member. Adam Marshall, our new member. Emma Jane and Hey, New Girl, our members. Adam Marshall, our new member. All right. Give me a second here. Let me get you some more updates. It's time for more updates. This is breaking news. News developing now. Again, the Israeli Defense Forces said about an hour ago, they actually said it about an hour and a half ago. Here, let me show you what the Israeli Defense Forces said, okay? Right here. You can see they said, earlier today, terrorists fired an anti-tank missile and gunfire toward IDF troops operating to dismantle terrorist infrastructure in the Rafah area in southern Gaza, in accordance with the ceasefire agreement. In response, the IDF has begun striking in the area to eliminate the threat and dismantle tunnel shafts and military structures used for terrorist activity. These terrorist actions constitute a blatant violation of the ceasefire agreement, and the IDF will respond firmly. They also said, in response to the blatant violation of the ceasefire agreement, earlier today, the IDF has begun a series of strikes against Hamas terror targets in the southern Gaza. Oh, I know what I'll do. I can do it like this. Israel strikes Gaza and halts aid, alleging Hamas ceasefire violation. Thanks to Erin McCune for your support. So, wow. I mean, at the moment, there's a ceasefire agreement, but there's not a ceasefire at the moment. To repeat, AP says an Israeli official says the transfer of aid into Gaza is halted after a Hamas ceasefire violation. Are we seeing the ceasefire collapsing about a week after it went into effect? Jim thinks the ceasefire is over. Hey, I think that sounds like a poll question. Let's do a poll question. Is the ceasefire deal dead? Is the ceasefire deal dead? That is going to be our poll. I'm going to ask it on YouTube and Twitch because Facebook hasn't fixed their polling yet. I'm sorry, Facebook viewers. But let's ask you guys what you think. Is the ceasefire deal now dead after these latest developments? Thank you, Fargo Bitwise, for subscribing. Let's see what you guys have to say about this. Well, I can tell you YouTube is not optimistic over there. Oops, I'll show you in a second. YouTube is not optimistic. On YouTube, the vote currently is, look at this, 84% say the ceasefire is dead on YouTube. 84%. How about Twitch? What does Twitch have to say about this? Wow. 82% on Twitch. They're almost in agreement, complete agreement. So our viewers who have voted in the poll, they are pessimistic about this ceasefire deal after the new news coming out of Israel and Gaza. Almost exact same. Susan YLD thinks there will be no peace. Thank you for voting in our poll. It's the same number. It's for a moment it was both 84%. Well, very close. Very close. Thanks for voting in the poll. We'll leave it open another 15, 20 seconds to let people vote. One of our viewers, Lewis James, says the peace never existed in the ceasefire deal never existed in the first place. I mean, they signed a deal. Hey, thanks, Miss Curvy, our new member. All right, let me try to get you some more updates here about what's going on with these latest developments. I have not even had time yet. Oh, what is this? No, that's from, I don't want to show that. We will talk about the Louvre robbery a little later on the stream. I think I have an update from the Israeli Defense Forces, guys. I think I have an update from the Israeli Defense Forces. Let's see. Do I have an update from them? I thought I did. Actually. Yes, I do. I have an update from the IDF, their Telegram account. So let me I'm going to show you guys the update from the Israeli Defense Forces that I just saw posted. Give me a moment here and I'll show it to you. Takes me a second to get it on the air. Here it is. This is from the Israeli Defense Forces. IDF struck Hamas terror targets in the Gaza Strip. Over the past few hours, in response to the blatant violation of the ceasefire agreement earlier today, turn down this volume for a little bit, the IDF struck dozens, they say, dozens of Hamas terror targets throughout the Gaza Strip. The targets struck included weapon storage facilities, infrastructure used for terrorist activity, firing posts, terrorist cells, and additional terrorist infrastructure sites. The IDF also struck and dismantled 6 kilometers, it's about 3.5 miles, of underground terrorist infrastructure using over 120 munitions. The underground site was used by the terrorist organization to advance attacks against the state of Israel. The Hamas terrorist organization blatantly violated the ceasefire agreement this morning. The IDF will continue to respond firmly and will operate to eliminate any threat to the state of Israel. This was posted just about 5 minutes ago by the IDF. All right, actually, give me a moment. I want to just post this. As we look at the live shot there from, no, that's northern Gaza. So IDF announces it has carried out dozens of strikes against Hamas in Gaza in the last few hours. Again, the IDF just said that in the last few hours it has carried out dozens of strikes against Hamas in Gaza. Hang on a moment. Oh, the Israeli Air Force just posted about this. Look at this, guys. The IDF, led by the Southern Command, has in recent hours attacked dozens of Hamas terror targets throughout the Gaza Strip using fighter jets, Air Force aircraft, and artillery, following a violation of ceasefire agreement earlier today. And they have videos of it. Well, this is not looking like a ceasefire right now, is it? I want to post this too. So they have videos there that they have posted of these strikes. Smooth Blue says, I mean, honestly, are we surprised? Hang on. One of our viewers said, what was the alleged violation? I'll get you more on that. We talked about that a little earlier, but I'll get you more on it. Manny Fabian with Times of Israel says the Israeli. Oh yes, no. This is the statement we read said this. The Israeli Defense Force in the statement we read earlier said that the IDF also struck and dismantled 6 kilometers of underground terrorist infrastructure using over 120 munitions. Oh, let me show you these videos posted by, let me show you a bigger version of these videos posted by the Israeli military. Hang on a second, I'll pull them up here. Can you see this? So these are videos posted by the Israeli military of strikes they have carried out in the last few hours. Again, it is not looking like a ceasefire at the moment. There's another video too. Here's the other video. James Reeder says, can't trust Hamas terrorists. Yeah, the IDF posted a different video where they said several terrorists were identified approaching IDF forces operating in the Beit Lahia area behind the Yellow Line, posing an immediate threat to the troops, and they said the terrorists were struck after crossing the yellow line. That is, I believe that kind of thing has happened before since the ceasefire. That's not the violation of the ceasefire that Israel. The post about 20 minutes ago saying that several armed terrorists were identified approaching IDF forces in Beit Lahia area. That was not the ceasefire allegation that led to Israel striking. What Israel said was that earlier today, terrorists fired an anti-tank missile and gunfire toward IDF troops operating in the Rafah area. So the post about 20 minutes ago about people getting too close to Israeli troops and Israeli troops taking them out, that wasn't the alleged ceasefire violation. So what happens now? What happens now? Israel has stopped the transfer of aid into Gaza. Now what happens? Let me show you another update here. Oops, sorry. Hang on. Give me a moment. Just give me one moment. Yes, I am still in Madrid. Thank you, Sarah. 777. I appreciate it. I am still in Madrid for a little while longer. Thanks for bearing with me. The broadcast might not look and sound like it normally does. Hey, thank you to Dr. Jax for the memberships. I really appreciate it. Thanks, Eric Ortega, 12KK, who says praying for world peace. Thanks, I Heart Jerome. I Heart Jerome says, this peace deal is like matchmaking the Democrats and Republicans. Stop arguing. All right, here's an update. I'm going to read you a little of this reporting from Associated Press. Israel says transfer of aid into Gaza is halted until further notice as ceasefire faces major test. The fragile ceasefire in Gaza faced its first major test today, as an Israeli security official said the transfer of aid into Gaza is halted until further notice after an alleged Hamas ceasefire violation and Israeli forces launched a wave of strikes. The Israeli official spoke on condition of anonymity pending a formal announcement of the halt in aid, but this has been reported by a number of outlets. The halt in aid is occurring a little over a week since the start of the U.S. proposed ceasefire aimed at ending 2 years of war. Israel's military said earlier Sunday its troops came under fire from Hamas militants in southern Gaza. Health officials in Gaza claimed at least 19 Palestinians were killed by Israeli strikes in central and southern Gaza. Israel's military said it had struck dozens of what it called Hamas targets. A senior Egyptian official involved in the ceasefire negotiations said round-the-clock contacts were underway to de-escalate the situation. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu directed the military to take strong action against any ceasefire violations, but did not threaten to return to war. Israel's military said militants fired at Israeli troops in areas of Rafah city that are Israeli-controlled according to agreed-upon ceasefire lines. No injuries were reported. The military said Israel responded with airstrikes and artillery. Hamas, which continued to accuse Israel of multiple ceasefire violations, said communication with its remaining units in Rafah had been cut off for months and said, "We are not responsible for any incidents occurring in those areas." That's an interesting statement by Hamas. I have a statement from Hamas right here from earlier today that I want to mention. Okay, I'm going to show you the statement from Hamas's Al-Qassam brigades from earlier today that they made in response to this allegation that Hamas forces had attacked Israeli forces in Rafah. I actually have the Hamas statement right here. So here is what Hamas said about this. You're looking at the AP story behind it. Hold on a second here. We want to go here. Let's go. Hold on one second here. Make the statement a little bigger for you. Here. Okay. Al-Qassam Brigade, which is Hamas's military wing, says, "We affirm our full commitment to implementing everything that has been agreed upon, foremost among which is the ceasefire in all areas of the Gaza Strip. We are not aware of any events or clashes taking place in the Rafah area, as these are red zones under the control of Israel, and contact has been cut off with the remaining groups of ours since the return of the war in March of this year. And we have no information whether they were killed or are still alive since March. Accordingly, we have no connection to any events taking place in those areas, and we cannot communicate with any of our mujahideen there if any of them are still alive." So Hamas is claiming, look, we haven't been able to communicate with our forces in Rafah since Israel broke the ceasefire in March and the war started again. So we don't know what's going on there. We didn't do anything. That's what they said. That's what they said. You can see it right there. That's their statement. I can't confirm that, but that's what they said. Twad says, "How convenient." All right, so that's their statement. Gaza's health ministry, which is part of the Hamas-run government, claimed that an Israeli airstrike today on a makeshift coffee house in Zawaida town in central Gaza killed at least 6 Palestinians. That's what Gaza's health ministry claims, says AP. The Gaza Health Ministry, part of the Hamas-run government, also claimed that another Israeli strike today killed at least 2 people near the Al-Ali soccer club in the Nusayrat refugee camp. Al-Auda Hospital in Gaza also said that it today received the bodies of 4 people killed in an Israeli strike on a school sheltering displaced families in Nusayrat, along with a body of 1 person killed in an Israeli strike at a charging point west of Nusayrat. Again, I cannot confirm these claims. Nasser Hospital in Gaza claimed at least 4 people were killed in an Israeli strike that hit a tent in the Muwasi area of Khan Yunis. Thanks to Gary Stovin for your support. Give me a moment here, getting you more information. Is the ceasefire collapsing? The IDF is reporting that 2 soldiers died in the Gaza Strip. I believe I'm just seeing that right now. I just saw it from N12 News, guys. I'm seeing it right now. Yes, multiple Israeli outlets say 2 IDF soldiers were killed. Oh, 2 killed and 3 injured in the incident in Rafah, Israel is saying. The alleged ceasefire violation. Okay. This is new breaking news. It just came out right now. New breaking news. The IDF, I'm reading you Manny Fabian's report. I'm seeing it in a lot of places. Manny Fabian says that the IDF says, I might even have the IDF original report. Oh, I have the original point from the IDF. Hold on. Oops. Give me a moment here. I'll show it to you. Sorry. This is from the IDF. That's not going to work. Wow. Okay, guys, the IDF says the names of 2 fallen soldiers, Major Yaniv Kula, aged 26, and Staff Sergeant Itay Yavets, aged 21. So they announced that 2 soldiers have been killed, and let me give you some more on this. Manny Fabian with Times of Israel had a statement from the Israeli military. Okay, according to Manny Fabian of Times of Israel, 2 Israeli soldiers were killed and 3 were wounded by the attack by Palestinian terror operatives in southern Gaza's Rafah this morning, the Israeli Defense Forces announced. So Israel says that this is the alleged ceasefire violation. Israel says, I assume it's Hamas forces, killed 2 Israeli soldiers and wounded 3 others. The incident took place, let me just show you where I'm getting this. Manny Fabian, at Manny Fabian, very good person to follow for updates about Israel. He's with Times of Israel. He says, the IDF says the incident took place around 10:30 a.m. in southeastern Rafah, close to the Salah ad-Din Road. The area east of the so-called Yellow Line is under IDF control as part of the ceasefire deal with Hamas. According to an initial IDF probe, a cell of terror operatives emerged from a tunnel in the area and fired RPGs at an excavator, killing the 2 Israeli troops. At the same time, another excavator was hit by sniper fire, wounding 2 more troops, including 1 seriously. A short while after that, another soldier was wounded by sniper fire, according to the Israeli Army's preliminary investigation. The terror operatives made no attempt to abduct soldiers in the incident, the probe found. The troops had been operating in the area under Israeli control as part of the ceasefire to clear it of Hamas infrastructure, with assumption that gunmen could still be holed up in the terror group's tunnels. In response to this attack, the Israeli Air Force and ground troops immediately carried out strikes in the area. Later, the IDF carried out a wave of airstrikes in southern Gaza, including against a tunnel system previously used by Hamas to hold hostages, said the IDF. Also, reportedly, Israel has now cut off aid into Gaza. The military posted 2 photos of the 2 soldiers killed, which I will show you right now via Manny Fabian of Times of Israel. The soldiers are Major Yaniv Kula, 26, and Staff Sergeant Itay Yavetz, 21. Condolences to their families. So again, Israel has just announced that 2 soldiers were killed, they say, and 3 soldiers were injured when Hamas... this says Palestinian terror operatives, but earlier Israel said a Hamas violation of the ceasefire. So I feel comfortable that Israel is saying Hamas fighters attacked Israeli soldiers who were working in an area of southern Gaza where Israel still occupies it under the ceasefire agreement. Can the ceasefire deal survive all of this? ICZ Cold says no. We did a poll a short while ago, and on YouTube and Twitch, over 80% of you thought the ceasefire deal was dead. I don't know what's going to happen now. What is going to happen now in Israel and Gaza with this? Let me just check a couple things here. President Trump has not posted about this yet, all of this. We'll see what he has to say. T3 says, to be honest, the conflict is natural, never seems to stop. Edward's distress says was only a matter of time. Ty Smith says this is so draining. Only 8 days after the ceasefire came into effect, guys. Just 8 days after. Oh, I think I have an update for you here. Jamie Alexander says at least they got the hostages back. Well, they got the living hostages back. Not all of the dead hostages are not back yet. N12 News reports, I haven't even seen this report from Barak Ravid myself, but N12 News Israel claims that Barak Ravid says that Israel has promised that the crossings to Gaza will reopen tomorrow morning. Is that true? I don't know. Israel has also reportedly halted all aid into Gaza. Oh, Barak Ravid posted about an hour ago saying, Israeli reporter Barak Ravid says that the U.S. has made it clear to Israel that the response must focus on isolating Hamas instead of renewing the war, to quickly advance the creation of an alternative to Hamas in the Strip, a senior American official said. Big doings today in Gaza. On one moment here. I'm checking some different sources in the region. The Gaza Health Ministry and hospitals in Gaza claim that there are dead and injured as a result of the Israeli strikes today. I can't confirm them, but I'm seeing new videos posted in Palestinian media that claim to show victims, Palestinian victims of today's airstrikes. Al Qahira News, which is a well-known, I think it's an Egyptian news channel, they say that Palestinian media claims 23 killed by Israeli strikes since dawn today. Again, I can't confirm that. A Shark breaking news. A Shark is a well-known Arabic language news outlet. They say that Palestinian media claims Israeli shelling targeted a house in the central Gaza Strip, killing 10 people today. Hey, thanks Temi Dank for the gift memberships. Thanks Joe. Joe says Hamas will be replaced by Sama, that's Hamas in reverse, and nothing changes. Thank you Sarah 777. Thanks so much Sarah. I appreciate that. Thanks I Am Charlie. Says praying for peace. Thanks Tyler Guy 97 who says what a mess. Thank you Joe for your support. Reuters calls this the gravest test of the truce so far. Look at a headline from Reuters. Israel strikes Gaza and halts aid, accusing Hamas of attacks in gravest test of truce so far. Wicked Angela, our viewer, thinks they all knew it wouldn't hold. Reuters has a picture of apparently one of the strikes. I have some video I can show you too. Let me show you the picture from Reuters though. But I have a video that I'll show you again that appears to show strikes. Here is a photo from Reuters today of it looks like one of the Israeli strikes. Can you guys see this? You'll see it in a second. Reuters reports Israel launched a series of strikes in Gaza today and said it was halting aid into Gaza in response to attacks on its forces in the most serious test yet of this month's U.S. brokered ceasefire. The ceasefire just came into effect 8 days ago. Residents in Gaza and local health authorities said Israeli airstrikes and tank fire across Gaza killed at least 18 people today, including at least one woman. The Israeli military said it struck Hamas targets, including a tunnel, weapons depots, and its militants. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu said he had ordered the military to respond forcefully to what he described as Hamas's violations of the ceasefire. The military said militants in the southern area of Rafah had launched anti-tank missile and fired on its soldiers. Israel now says that 2 of its soldiers were killed and 3 wounded when terrorists attacked its soldiers in Rafah today. The armed wing of Hamas said it remained committed to the ceasefire agreement, said it was unaware of the clashes of Rafah, and claimed it had not been in contact with groups there since March. An Israeli security official said the transfer of aid into Gaza has been halted until further notice, following what he described as Hamas's blatant violation of the ceasefire agreement. Fearing the truce may collapse, says Reuters, some Palestinians rushed to buy goods from a main market in Nusayrat camp, and families quit their homes in Khan Yunis further south after airstrikes hit nearby. The strikes were reminiscent of Israel's response to what it viewed as serious violations of its ceasefire with Hamas's Lebanese ally Hezbollah in late 2024, less than a week after that ceasefire came into effect and after days of mutual accusations of truce breaches. Though that ceasefire with Hezbollah has largely held. But formidable obstacles remain in the way of a durable peace in Gaza, where a ceasefire collapsed in March after nearly 2 months of relative calm, when Israel unleashed a barrage of airstrikes. Remember that. There was a ceasefire earlier this year with nearly 2 months of relative calm, which collapsed in March. A little more background here from Reuters. The new ceasefire took effect a week ago, halting 2 years of war, but the Israeli government and Hamas have been accusing each other of violations of the ceasefire for days. On Saturday, Israel said the Rafah border crossing between Gaza and Egypt, which had been expected to be reopened this week, would remain closed, and that its reopening would depend on Hamas fulfilling its obligations under the ceasefire. Israel says Hamas is being too slow in handing over bodies of the dead hostages. Hamas last week released all 20 living hostages it had been holding, and in the following days has handed over 12 of the 28 deceased captives. Hamas says it has no interest in keeping the bodies of the remaining hostages and that special equipment is needed to recover corpses buried under rubble. Although the flow of aid into Gaza had, until today's decision by Israel to halt aid, increased significantly since the ceasefire began, the UN says far more aid is needed. Key questions of Hamas disarming, the future governance of Gaza, the makeup of an international stabilization force, and moves toward the creation of a Palestinian state have yet to be resolved. Wow. What is going to happen here? Are we going to see the end of the ceasefire deal? I have no idea. But a bunch of fighting today. Thank you, Vanessa, for your support. Vanessa says Hamas lost their leverage and they won't disarm. It's impossible to negotiate with that. And peace in the Middle East is not something that will ever hold long term. Thank you, Tech Wizard. I will be checking my message shortly. Hold on a moment here. Thanks, Devil Doc, for subscribing on Twitch. BG thinks Hamas can stop the suffering. Oh, Ite Blumenthal with Channel 11 Khan News says that an Israeli official says the Israeli response has not ended. Okay? Again, Ite Blumenthal says Israeli sources say the Israeli response has not ended and is expected to continue in the coming hours. Remember, Israel says that this morning, Hamas terrorists attacked Israeli soldiers in Rafah and killed 2 of them and injured 3 of them. Just to repeat some of the specifics of what Israel claimed happened. Oh, I thought I posted Manny's post. I got to repost Manny's post. Manny Fabian of Times of Israel passed along details from the IDF. And again, according to the IDF, a cell of terror operatives emerged from a tunnel in the area and fired RPGs at an Israeli excavator, killing 2 troops. At the same time, another excavator was hit by sniper fire, wounding 2 more troops, including 1 seriously. A short while after that, another soldier was wounded by sniper fire, according to the Israeli army. The troops had been operating in the area, which was under Israeli control as part of the ceasefire, to clear it of Hamas infrastructure. Again, that is via Manny Fabian, at Manny Fabian, who you can follow over on X there. So Israel has carried out dozens of strikes today, it says, on Hamas targets in Gaza. And Ite Blumenthal with Khan News is reporting that Israeli sources say Israel is not done responding to this incident. There could be more strikes by Israel in the coming hours. Now, this live shot we have is of northern Gaza. So if there's strikes in southern Gaza, we won't see it on this live shot. You never know, though. Shrenko says time for round 2. Our viewer G. Hart says, I knew this would not last from the start. Our viewer Any Bite says ideology cannot be changed overnight. Barak Ravid says U.S. official says Israel told us it will reopen the crossing to Gaza on Monday morning. We'll have to see. Oh, I have another report here. This is from Yan Zir Cohen, who is with GLZ Radio. Yan Zir is an Israeli reporter with military radio GNZ. Yan Zir Cohen, Israeli reporter, says that a political source tells him that because of the massive bombings today, Israel stopped truck traffic, which will resume when I assume it's the Israeli bombings end. But the Rafah crossing will only open when we see Hamas continuing to return the dead hostages at a reasonable pace. So what Yanir Cohen says is that the crossings would open tomorrow. In theory, this means the crossings would open tomorrow to allow aid to enter at the current rate, but the Rafah crossing remains Israel's leverage over Hamas, so it will continue to release hostages and civilians. I guess in theory, the Rafah crossing would allow more aid to come in. And that's not an official announcement, by the way. That's just a source. So we'll have to see how long aid is halted for. And all the border crossings have been closed now, though, into Gaza by Israel. Gilly Cohen, who is with Khan News Israel, said an Israeli official says aid will enter Gaza tomorrow. This is the emerging direction due to American pressure, an Israeli official said to Gilly Cohen of Khan News, or somebody at Khan News. It's reported by Gilly Cohen. I mean, I would certainly think that the U.S. is pushing for aid to resume and the fighting to stop. I would certainly think that. Okay, Barak Ravid is now reporting that Israeli officials say after pressure from the Trump administration, the decision to halt aid was walked back. The crossings will be reopened and aid delivery will resume on Monday morning local time. That's what they say. So Barak Ravid and others are claiming that the Trump administration has put pressure on Israel to resume aid tomorrow. We'll have to see if that happens. UV says might be a long night then. Ginger T says great news re-aid. I'm sure the Trump administration is not happy about this fighting. Yeah, I haven't seen Trump post about this yet. I'm waiting for that to happen. Hey, thanks so much to AZ Intel's dad. That's really nice of you. Thanks so much, AZ Intel's dad. And retired teacher, our member. And thank you for shouting out our moderators. I want to shout out our moderators. They are awesome. Ruth Krafasi and Beth Mythical are moderating over YouTube right now. Janet B is there as well. Thank you so much. On Twitch, we have moderating. Oops. I Got That Fire, Matthew Kohai 3. McBritches, Sarah, and Riff Tracks. Thank you. Oops, hold on a second here. Open this back up. Thanks also to our Facebook moderators and our Margaret Riley, Kay Lowry Body are moderating over there. Thank you. Linda Belk, Larry, and Misha on X. Shannon Davis Hughes is moderating as well. Let me shout out some of our Twitch subscribers while I have a chance. I Got That Fire, A Stoic Pause, Wall Street Shaggy, Devil Doc, Fargo Bitwise, Kay Clouth, Matthew Kohai 3. Thanks to all of our Twitch subscribers for supporting the channel. Douthis, Ravenheart, Joker Zombie, Oofkey, Danny9293, Warlord Gord, thank you. Thanks also Edwards Distress for being a member. Zesty Zombie thinks more strikes are coming. There could be more strikes. It's not that. Oh, hold on a second here. I think it's what, 8:24 Israel time PM. Yeah, 8:24 Israel and Gaza time, PM. So we got a ways to go before tomorrow morning. Will we hear from President Trump about these developments tonight? That I do not know. Hold on. Maybe by tomorrow things will settle down. But then does something else happen? The Hot News, who I follow, they claim that there were new strikes just minutes ago in Nusayrat camp. That's the Hot News, which is a Telegram account I follow. Let me see if there's any other reporting on this. Yes, so Quds End Breaking, which is a Palestinian news account I follow on X, they are also saying that Israel has struck one or more targets in the Nusayrat camp area, which is, I should pull up a map of Gaza here. So getting reports of new Israeli strikes in the last few minutes in Gaza. We're not going to see everything on this camera. This camera is northern Gaza. Nusayrat camp is in central Gaza. I'll put it on the screen for you so you can see where it is, though. Now, it's called camp, but think of it as like an urban area. It's like a city. All right, I'm putting this on the screen for you right now. See, Nusayrat camp is in middle of Gaza, central Gaza. And, hold on a second, I gotta fix this. I'm seeing multiple reports that I just mentioned to you of new Israeli strikes in Nusayrat camp. Just a few minutes ago. I'll post a link to a photo. I don't have the rights to this, but an account I follow, Kastal News, which is a Palestinian news account, has a photo which claims to be a photo of a new Israeli strike in the central Gaza Strip. They say, Kastal News, that there are dead and wounded as a result of what they call Israel's bombing the Al-Baz family home in Nusayrat camp. I just posted a link in the chat where you can see this alleged photo. I have seen some other photos and videos, which I don't have the rights to, of, again, apparently a reported new Israeli strike in central Gaza in Nusayrat, just in the last few minutes. Some of those reports come from an Israeli account I follow. And will Hamas respond to these current strikes? Hillel Biton Rosen with Channel 14 News in Israel reports that a senior political source tells Israel's Channel 14 News that Netanyahu knows that dismantling Hamas politically and militarily is the ultimate goal of the war. We will not stop until that happens. We missed the opportunity today, but it is not unlikely there will be opportunities in the future. So that source seems to suggest that Israel thinks there will be more fighting between Hamas and Israel. In case you missed it, Israel said this morning, 2 soldiers were killed, Israeli soldiers were killed, and 3 wounded when what Israel said were Hamas fighters attacked Israeli soldiers in southern Gaza in Rafah. And Israel has conducted dozens of strikes on Hamas today. And reportedly said they are cutting off aid from entering Hamas for the moment in response to these strikes, in response to this ceasefire violation, this alleged ceasefire violation by Hamas. We did a poll earlier, and over 80% of you thought that the ceasefire deal was now dead. Lindsay Ann sent me a message. Yeah, Fox News is claiming that the U.S. Secret Service uncovered a suspicious hunting stand with a direct line of sight to where President Trump exits Air Force One on the Palm Beach airport. Fox News reported that. I cannot confirm that report. Fox News says that agents found the stand on Thursday. And that no people were located at the scene. Then I guess Fox News posted a picture of what appears to be, I guess, a hunting stand in a tree. And the Secret Service told Fox News agents discovered the hunting stand during advanced security preparations prior to Trump's arrival in Palm Beach. Oh, a law enforcement source told Fox News the stand appeared to have been set up months ago. That's from their article. A law enforcement source told Fox News the stand appeared to have been set up months ago. Thanks, Lindsay Ann, for sending me the link. Sean's News, our viewer, says Trump will not like that the fighting with Israel and Hamas has resumed. We need to talk about the Louvre robbery, too. We haven't even talked about that yet because we've been covering the breaking news out of the Middle East. The new fighting. We might talk about the Louvre while leaving this camera up. Maybe we'll do that. Our viewer, hold on. Poor Samix says this will never end peacefully. Mama Yoli says this is crazy. Supernova thinks Trump knew this would happen. Arafat Nakba thinks Trump is angry. Al Jazeera reports that the Israeli Broadcasting Authority reports that the U.S. message to Israel was, you can respond to the violations, but without undermining the agreement. I-24 News English reports what some other outlets have reported. They say Israel backtracks on humanitarian aid halt, aid delivery to resume once the Israeli strikes on Hamas end. I have a new report of a new strike in southern Gaza. Pal Info AR, which is a Palestinian news account I follow, they say that there's a new Israeli airstrike on the eastern part of Khan Yunis city in the southern Gaza Strip. You would not see that on this shot because this shot is the northern Gaza Strip. So we're still hearing about new Israeli strikes. Palestine at PalDF, which is another Palestinian outlet I follow, they say 5 minutes ago, Israeli airstrike on eastern Khan Yunis, southern Gaza Strip. Al Jazeera says sources in Gaza hospitals claim that 32 people have been killed in Israeli airstrikes on several areas since this morning. I cannot confirm that report. Another report I just saw right now from another Palestinian news outlet I follow, Kastal News, they say Israeli airstrikes just happened on the west side of Gaza City in central Gaza. So we're hearing reports in the last few minutes of new Israeli strikes. Sounds like Israel may be striking Hamas overnight until the morning. I don't know. NY committee says peace was great while it lasted. The Zulgrund says this is a holy war that's been going on forever. Paradise thinks it will be at least until morning. Ted Jones says peace. Ted Jones says, hold on, I missed it here. Flew by. Oh no, I'm sorry. Ted said peace, LOL, good luck, get ready, folks. Emlyn Beamish says that might be the shortest peace ever. All right, while we keep this footage up, should we take a second and talk about the Louvre? It's been so busy on this stream talking about the updates from the Middle East. with the new fighting in Gaza. We haven't even had time to talk about the Louvre. I'm gonna just talk a bit about that, but I'm gonna leave this camera up. But I might take a second and show you a couple photos. Oopsie. Try this again. The Louvre is one of the best known, most famous and prominent art museums in the world. And there was a theft there. I'm going to show you some pictures too. But you can see here real quick, thieves steal priceless jewels from Paris's Louvre in brazen daylight heist. Crazy. Hold on a moment here. Reuters says thieves broke into Paris's Louvre Museum today using a crane and smashing an upstairs window and stealing priceless jewelry from an area that houses the French crown jewels before escaping on motorbikes. I have a picture of the crane believed to be used in the robbery too. I'll show you the picture of the crane. It's crazy. Here, let me put that up on the screen for you. One moment, I'm getting the picture on the screen for you of the crane. Right here, look at this. Look at the crane. Oops. I'll show you in a second. I had it up here. Here is the crane. Can you guys see this? You'll see it in a second. Look, it's the crane. See? And it went up here. Crazy. They used a crane. Gordon Gott says, movie coming out in spring. I think there's another crane one here too. Look, you can see the edge of the crane right there. See on the right, the crane goes up to the balcony. And would they smash this window here? AO says, unbelievable. Mama Yoli says, that's a major heist. Now that's also the crane that's being looked at. Police look, she's taking a picture of the crane. They left the crane there. Amy H says they are very brazen and bold. There's another one of the crane. Look at that. Wow, crazy. Just crazy. Just crazy. Emily Hughes, it's not the first time the Louvre has been robbed. Let me get you some more details about this, while at the same time, I want to keep an eye on the live shot we have from northern Gaza. Reuters says the robbery is likely to raise awkward questions about security at the museum, where officials had already sounded the alarm about lack of investment at a world-famous site, home to such artworks as the Mona Lisa. That museum last year had 8.7 million visitors. The thieves struck, this is incredible, they struck at about 9:30 a.m. 9:30 a.m. when the museum had already opened its doors to the public. It's just crazy. The thieves struck at around 9:30 a.m. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Hang on, I got to post these. I got to post something here. Hold on, I'll keep going. I just got to post something real quick. That's according to the French Interior Ministry. That is unbelievable. Okay, so again, Reuters says that the government of France said the thieves struck at the Louvre at about 9:30 a.m. when the museum was already open, and they entered the Galerie de Apollon building. The robbery took around 4 minutes and the culture ministry said the robbery of jewelry from the Louvre took around 4 minutes and was carried out by professionals. The culture minister said, "We saw some footage. They don't target people. They enter calmly in 4 minutes, smash display cases, take their loot, and leave. No violence, very professional." It is unbelievable. They did it while the museum was open. The culture minister said that one piece of jewelry had been recovered outside the museum, apparently dropped as the thieves made their escape. Crazy. She declined to say what the item was, but newspaper Le Parisien said the recovered item appeared to be the crown of Napoleon III's wife, Empress Eugenie. The item was broken, the newspaper said. An auction house president told Reuters that the crown would be worth several tens of millions of euros, just this crown, and it's not, in my opinion, the most important item. It really is bonkers. So the French culture minister on Louvre robbery, which took place while museum was open. This is from via Reuters, by the way. She said, "We saw some footage. They don't target people. They enter calmly in 4 minutes, smash the display cases, take their loot, and leave." She also said one item one piece of jewelry was recovered outside the museum, which reportedly was the crown of Napoleon III's wife. Worth several tens of millions of euros. The crown was reportedly broken. What a crazy story. Oh, and the culture minister is, hold on, Rashida Dati. I'm not even done looking through the article yet. I'll take some comments in a second. The president of an auction house told Reuters that, well, I don't know. According to Reuters, the president of an auction house said that it's a completely incomprehensible act because the perpetrators will have every police force in the world on their tail. And in my opinion, they've put themselves in a very precarious situation. I mean, I can't imagine they could sell this stuff on the open market. The interior minister said that 3 or 4 thieves got into the museum from outside using a crane positioned on a truck. We showed you the picture of the crane already. I'll show you again, though. Here again, real quick, is the crane. Can you see the? Yeah, there's the crane from Reuters, from that story. There's the crane that goes up to the window there. 3 or 4 thieves went up the crane at 9:30 in the morning when the museum was open. Then they went in, they broke into the museum, and in 4 minutes they broke some cases and took jewelry out and then left. U.S. Rights and Freedom says, who hired the thieves? Probably criminal billionaires. Yes, the interior minister said that the thieves, 3 or 4 thieves, got into the museum from outside using a crane positioned on a truck. Okay, they broke a window, headed to several display cases, and stole jewels which have a real historical priceless value. The interior minister said the team had likely scouted the location and may have carried out similar thefts in the past. A video posted on X by a museum guide showed visitors filing toward exits in the middle of their tour, initially unaware of the reason for the disruption. The interior minister said a specialized police unit is investigating, and that unit has a high success rate in cracking high-profile robberies such as this one, tasked with, Anyways, they say it's a specialized police unit that has a high success rate in cracking high-profile robberies such as this one. The Louvre closed for the day. It is the world's most visited museum. One of our viewers had said earlier that it's not the first robbery there. One robbery they had in 1911, the Mona Lisa was stolen by a former employee. He was eventually caught and the painting was returned to the museum 2 years later. Earlier this year, officials at the Louvre requested urgent help from the French government to restore and renovate the museum's aging exhibition halls and better protect its countless works of art. The culture minister said the issue of museum security was not new. She said, for 40 years there was little focus on securing these major museums, and 2 years ago the president of the Louvre requested a security audit from the police prefect. Why? Because museums must adapt to new forms of crime. Today it's organized crime professionals, she said. That is unbelievable. So jewelry was taken, and the one item recovered, according to Le Parisien, was the crown of Napoleon III's wife, Empress Eugenie, which is worth several tens of millions of euros. And the president of an auction house told Reuters that he thought that this was not even the most important item taken. It took 4 minutes. That is unbelievable.
They swept.
You want me to do, there's a little video here that I'm going to put in. I don't want you to miss the live shot from Israel, but maybe I can put the video on in the corner so you can see the video from Reuters about this. It's like a 1-minute video, but I want to show it to you. Hold on, I'm pulling it up here right now. So what I need to do is put the video on. You know what I'll do? I'll put it on the top of the screen. Let's do it this way. Here we go. We're putting the video on the top of the screen for you. Oop, that didn't work. You'll see it in a second. There it is. It says, at Greg Rasputin via X. Can you guys see this? Yeah, all right. It's like a 1-minute video. It says, visitors evacuate the Louvre Museum after brazen thieves broke in and stole priceless jewelry.
We were just ready to go in to see the Mona Lisa when they swept us out of the gallery, swept us down the stairs by the Winged Victory. Then we were headed out the exit. We didn't realize the whole museum was being evacuated.
And we went right past the Apollo Gallery onto the level with the Italian paintings, and then another round of technical difficulties, and then off we went back the way we had come in, past the same galleries, and then back down the stairs. Lots of confusion, lots of misdirection.
They
and
would
then
say,
they ran us all out.
when you rob the Louvre, that's a big deal to all of France. So I knew something was up because of the way they swept the whole museum. So.
Wow.
We were just ready to go in to see the Mona Lisa.
TFB says, I bet it was that woman giving the interview? Zyko says, when greedy millionaires have everything they want, then they want more, and they will do anything to get it. That's what one of our viewers says. Jake Blues says, what's worrying is that there weren't armed police around ready for any terror attack. You know, that's an interesting point that Jake Blues makes. You know, this was thieves who went in on a crane into the museum. But what if it was people with guns? Anatolian thinks the heist was so impressive they should be allowed to keep the items? Mrs. Curvy says, these are professionals. Anon thinks they'll break them down and melt the gold? Shasi says, no police in the area, or were they cheering for the thieves? Again, this happened while the museum was open. Callie Raven says, no doubt this was professional thieves. Local dial tone says, thieves won Louvre O. I need to get my chapstick. Josie thinks it sounds like an inside job. How did they even pull a crane up to the Louvre? I would think it'd be hard to pull a crane up to the Louvre. I have this giant crane. We're going to pull it up to the building, and we're going to have the crane go up to the second floor, and no one comes over and says, hey, this big crane you've just pulled up to the Louvre, and you're now raising the crane to the second floor? We don't have any record that says this crane is supposed to be here. I would think if I tried to park my car next to the Louvre and it wouldn't be there, somebody would come up right away. Thomas Darwin says probably looked like maintenance workers. Hey, maybe they had some kind of fake pass or something. That I don't know. It's a good question. I got to read some of the other coverage of this. One of our viewers said, I think a very wealthy collector hired them. Someone said there was construction work in the area, though I haven't seen it in reporting, said Shraki. Oh, so a little more information. The Washington Post says, I showed you it was used, there was like a crane thing that allowed the thieves to get up to the second floor. The Washington Post says these mechanized elevators are used across Paris to deliver furniture to upper floor apartments. Photos from the scene showed police swabbing the lift. It's unclear if the lift was already in place or if the suspects drove it over. BFM TV says 8 jewels were stolen. That's a French outlet. They say that there is CCTV footage, surveillance footage from the museum. I wonder if we'll ever get to see that. I mean, this happened while it was open. The Paris prosecutor told BFM TV that a citizen told authorities that one of the thieves got rid of the yellow vest he was wearing, and now the police have that yellow vest. Maybe it was like a maintenance person vest or something. Okay, BFM TV also has some reporting about what jewels were stolen from the Louvre. A necklace and earring from the Marie Louise collection, a necklace, pair of earrings, and a tiara from the collections of Queens Marie, Amelie, and Hortense, and 4 pieces from the collection of Empress Eugenie, including 2 brooches, a bodice bow, and a tiara. Also, the one thing that was recovered was Empress Eugenie's crown. Oh, also, the crane hoist thing, BFM TV says the public prosecutor of Paris says the thieves brought the crane themselves, and it has now been towed away, but the thieves brought it themselves. Oh, there's a video of somebody with a yellow vest entering through a window. Hold on a moment. I don't have the rights to this, but I want to post a link to it. Hang on a moment here. There's actually a video that's out of a person entering through the window. Hold on a moment. I'll post a link. Crazy. Trying to get a link from the original outlet. Video of burglary at the Louvre. I'm going to post a link to you guys from BFM TV where you can see this video. I just posted the link right now. I've reposted it on my X account. And you see it's a guy with a yellow vest. Is he breaking into a case?
Intérieur du musée du Louvre.
Hold on, sorry, I don't want to play the sound. Crazy. Hold on one moment. It looks like you see him breaking into a case. That's insane. Okay, sorry. Let me get you back to the live shot from Gaza. BFM TV also reports that the robbers at the Louvre had their faces concealed. Again, I'll post the link again to the reported video from the Louvre burglary of a man in a yellow vest appearing to break into a case and just taking stuff while the museum was open. Sasha says the power of a yellow vest. Our viewer Emlyn says the fact that nobody tried to stop them or even intervene is crazy too. Well, I wonder if you were at a museum, if you were at the Louvre and you saw this, you might think to yourself, like, there's no way this is real. There's no way somebody is actually breaking in while the museum is open and just smashing the case and taking the stuff. I don't know what you think. I mean, also you would want to get hurt, you know, but you might not even think it's real. You might think they're like making a movie or something, or, you know, what would you think to see that? Wall Street says, I'd have no idea. Bobby Martinez says, in broad daylight, that's crazy. Oh, BFM TV also posted the a picture, some video of the crown that was apparently found damaged. Oh, I have it. So I'm going to post a link on Wikipedia. I'm posting a link on Wikipedia to, real quick I'll show it. Hopefully we don't miss anything on the live cam. But here it is right now. You'll see it in a second. There is the crown of Empress Eugenie. That was made in 1855, or in the mid-1800s, I guess. It's a gold crown set with diamonds and an eagle, in emeralds, diamonds and emeralds. So, and the picture is via Wouter Engler on Wikipedia. You can go look at it over there. But that was reportedly the one item that was stolen, that was found, apparently dropped outside by the thieves, and it was found broken. And a president of an auction house told Reuters it was worth tens of millions of euros. In the Wikipedia article that actually says, now, it was stolen and it was recovered the same day on a street close to the Louvre. Shrenko says it was just found in the streets of Paris. Madness. Naughty Boy says feels like an inside job. All right, so that story is crazy, crazy. That is a crazy, crazy story. I'll check for some more updates in a second, but I want to actually just mention to people what is going on with Israel and Gaza, which is huge news. By the way, quick thanks to AZ Intel's dad. That is so nice of you, AZ Intel's dad. Thank you. Also, Eamon O'Leary. I'm late reading Eamon's comment. Eamon said, I don't understand what the end game is. And I don't know if Eamon was referring to the robbery or Gaza. I think he was referring to the robbery, actually. Eamon says, I don't understand what the end game is. You know, why is somebody stealing this if they can't sell it on the open market? Is it one of our viewers thought maybe it's, a couple of our viewers thought maybe it's a wealthy collector. Thanks, Malcolm Moore, who thinks it makes Mission Impossible look like Laurel and Hardy. Thanks, Malcolm Moore, for your support. Eamon Leary says, could the theft be a form of terrorism? Thanks, the Rocket King, for your support. Thank you, the Rocket King. The Rocket King seems to think that the developments in Gaza make it less likely that Trump will get a Nobel Peace Prize. Thank you, Gina, our member. Thank you, Priceman141. Thank you, Edwards Distress, for being a member. Thanks, Retired Teacher, for being a member. And Mr. Ray Romantico, thanks for being a member. You know, there was another boat destroyed by the U.S. military, which was announced today. We didn't even talk about that yet. Thanks, Dark Crypto, for the bits. Thanks again to all of our moderators who are here. I got that fire, Matthew Kohai 3, McBritches, Sarah, and Riff Tracks on Twitch. Linda Bell, Larry, Misha over on X. Our Facebook moderators like, oops, Kohai 3, McBritches, Kay Lowry Body, Margaret Riley, Shannon Davis Hughes. And Beth Mythical, Roberts May Queen, Ruth Kafasi on YouTube. Thank you. All right, so let's get you caught up. Hey, thanks, Sasha, our member. Sasha says safety vests are mandatory. Oh, hold on. There's a new statement from the IDF. The Israeli Defense Forces just came out with a statement that said, in accordance with the directives of the political leadership, and after a series of significant attacks, the IDF began reinforcing the ceasefire after its violation by the terrorist organization Hamas. The IDF will continue to enforce the ceasefire agreement and will respond forcefully to any violation of the agreement. It sounds like the IDF may have just announced that they're done with the attacks. That's what I think might have just happened right now. Guys. I wonder if they just basically, it sounds like that to me. Sounds like the IDF may be announcing the new strikes against Hamas are over for now. Hold on a second here. They said, in accordance with the directive of the political leadership and following a series of significant strikes, the IDF has begun renewed enforcement of the ceasefire following its violation by the terrorist organization Hamas. The IDF will continue to enforce the ceasefire agreement and will respond forcefully to any violation of the agreement. That sounds to me like they're saying that the strikes are done for now. Let me show. I'm going to show you this statement that that the IDF has. They just came out with this statement. Okay. Here is this statement from the IDF 4 minutes ago. In accordance with the directive of the political leadership, and following a series of significant strikes, which I assume is the Israeli strikes, the IDF has begun renewed enforcement of the ceasefire, following its violation by the terrorist organization Hamas. The IDF will continue to enforce the ceasefire agreement and will respond forcefully to any violation of the agreement. That suggests to me that they're saying, well, we're done with the response for now. You know what? I just have to fill up my. Give me about 10 seconds. I just need to fill up my water glass. Hang on. I need about 15 seconds. All right. So I'm going to leave this up there, and I'm going to take about 15 seconds and come right back. Hang on one moment. Okay, so again, it sounds like Israel has just announced that their strikes against Hamas are done. We're going to have to do another poll. Thanks, Gemini Rose, for being a member. Thanks, X Chocolate Angel X, for your support. And it seems like Israel has just announced that they are done striking Hamas in Gaza for the time being. UV says, let's see if this lasts more than 8 days. Tuxnor says for an hour or 4. All right, so we're gonna do a poll right now. The poll is, will the ceasefire hold? I'm going to turn off the volume on that. I'll leave it on. Then I'll go over what happened one more time. So the poll is, will the ceasefire hold? So remember, this morning Israel said that Hamas terrorists attacked Israeli troops in Rafah in southern Gaza and killed 2 Israeli troops and injured 3 others. In response, Israel has been conducting strikes today in Gaza, dozens of strikes against what it says are Hamas targets. Gaza authorities say dozens of people have been killed in these strikes. Israel has just announced that, as I see it, they've announced that the strikes are over and they're back to enforcing the ceasefire again. By the way, Israel also said it had halted aid. Multiple reports that Israel said it had halted aid into Gaza. Now, there's a number of reports that say the aid's going to start tomorrow morning again. I assume it's going to, but we'll have to see. So the poll question is, will the new ceasefire hold? By new, I mean as of about a few minutes ago, in the sense of Israel saying it's done conducting strikes for now. Let me put the. I guess I don't mean hold like 20 years from now. I mean hold in the near future. Okay. Just when I ask this question, it doesn't mean like 100 years from now will they be fighting. I just mean the near future. Maybe I should have specified a time amount, but. So think of it as like a month or so, month or 2 or 3, several months. Well, I guess no, but I mean it should be even more than that in theory. Does it hold until we start getting reconstruction in Gaza, I guess, is the question. And all that. All right, so our viewers, my question is, will this by new ceasefire, I mean Israel saying a few minutes ago, okay, we're enforcing the ceasefire again. Is that going to hold? Didn't hold today. On YouTube, 88% of people say no. And then on Twitch, well, look at Twitch. 95% of people say no. 96%. Jim Colbert says not a chance. UV says only 88%. Donna Morris says no ceasefire will ever be honored. Angry Music Super says laughably no. Moose says the peace agreement holds when the terrorists disarm. By new, I just meant, as I said, the fact that there was fighting today, but now supposedly it's on again. There's one Telegram account I follow, which is a good Telegram Israeli news account, and it looks like that account is not happy with Israel stopping its response, and that account felt that Israel should have had a stronger response to what it says was Hamas killing 2 Israeli soldiers and injuring 3 Israeli soldiers. So around 90% of you in both polls think the new ceasefire will not hold after tonight. I mean, it's obviously a huge deal what happened, right? Israel says that Hamas attacked its soldiers in Rafah and killed 2 Israeli soldiers and injured 3 of them during the ceasefire. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's some disagreement in Israel on what to do about this. Yeah, so Barak Ravid said that the latest IDF announcement came 10 hours after the fighting started. And he seems to be suggesting that Israel has announced that its response to what happened this morning is over. Oh, this is very interesting. Listen to this. Listen to this. Almog Boker, who is with Channel 12 Israel. Okay, I follow Almog Boker. He says the story here is not the IDF. The story here is Netanyahu's capitulation, surrender. Less than 12 hours after Hamas terrorists violated the ceasefire and killed 2 of our fighters, we returned to a ceasefire as if nothing happened. This is from Almog Boker, who's a reporter in Channel 12 for Channel 12 Israel. He says the response, also, by the way, destroying infrastructure, is measured and restrained just like before. And Almog Boker, who again is with Channel 12 Israel, he says the message to Hamas is that nothing has changed. You can continue to string us along with objective difficulties in locating the bodies of the kidnapped individuals. You can continue to grow stronger, recover, and even attack from time to time. A sad evening. So look, that's one response from one Israeli person. That is Almog Boker, who is with Channel 12 Israel, Southern correspondent who I follow. He is not happy. He thinks this response by Netanyahu to what happened is weak. Now, there's reporting that the U.S. was putting pressure on Israel to moderate their response, which I certainly think is understandable because the U.S. would want the peace to hold. Molly Morgan says, I don't think the response was strong enough. I don't know. I mean, again, I'm sure there's plenty of people in Israel who don't want the war to break out again. But I just told you 2 people who I follow. And again, I'm sure there's different opinions. 2 people I follow who think the response was in Israel who think the response was too weak. Amir Bobat, who I follow in Israel, who is with the I think he's with GL. Is he with GLZ Radio? No, Walla News. Amir Bobat of Walla News. He thinks that the U.S. has significant weight in the decision to stop, for Israel saying we're going to stop our attacks now on Hamas. Very interesting. Barak Ravid says the War of 9 Hours. Ghost of Eazy-E says missiles and starvation is weak. What more do these monsters want? Well, I think the idea is that there are people in Israel who thought it should have gone on for longer or done more. I'm not saying you had to agree with them. Oh, AZ Intel mentioned that President Macron of France posted about the robbery. At the Louvre Museum. Let me show you that. Thanks to AZ Intel for the heads up about that. I'm going to show you what President Macron said. President Macron says, "The theft committed at the Louvre is an attack on a heritage that we cherish because it is our history. We will recover the works and the perpetrators will be brought to justice. Everything is being done everywhere to achieve this under the leadership of the Paris Prosecutor's Office. The Louvre New Renaissance Project, which we launched in January, provides for strength and security. It will be the guarantor of the preservation and protection of what constitutes our memory and our culture." Thanks again to AZ Intel for mentioning that he had posted that. Oopsie. Michael Jin, our viewer, says, "These two need a babysitter to do a ceasefire. It's time to bring back the Spartans." Thanks to Fashion Police for sending me a video of some of the stolen jewelry. One of my followers said there's a huge black market for the stolen jewelry. They think. Murph thinks there will be no peace until Hamas disarms and leaves Gaza, but they have openly repeated time after time they are not willing to disarm nor leave Gaza. Patrick Russell had messaged before, how many people entered the museum? I believe the story we read earlier said 3 or 4 people went into the museum, the Louvre, to do the robbery, if I remember right. Our viewer Belectoart said of the crane used in the robbery, Belectoart thought it was It's not a crane, it's a cherry picker for giving people access to high work areas. Cranes lift things, not people. It's a people lifter on a lorry. They move the speed of cars and vans. The boom extends and retracts in seconds. It's no big deal for moving it into place. They are used mainly to repair street lamps and traffic lights, not move furniture about. Well, one of the articles said they move furniture. But anyways, look, I'll just show you the picture again. My point, thank you for writing in Belecto Art. My point is, this is not a small piece of equipment that was used in the theft. Look, I'll show the picture again. Look, here it is again. Right here. There it is. I mean, that's not a small piece of equipment. I guess maybe crane is the wrong word. A hoist, whatever it is. But, I mean, my point was, the idea that you could drive that up to the Louvre and put it up there and nobody would come up to you and say anything if you weren't supposed to be there is interesting. I don't know what to call it. A lift. People are calling. You guys can figure out the correct name for it. But that is not a small piece of equipment. That ladder thing, whatever you call it, what is it, about 30 feet high, long right there? Sizable, said one of our viewers, Sherry. They escaped. Yeah, now Reuters said they used a crane and escaped on motorbikes. So for what it's worth, the Reuters article called it a crane. Now maybe you don't think it should be called a crane, which is fine. But the Reuters article did call it a crane. AP called it a basket lift. AP had some photos of it too. Hold on, I'll show you the AP photos. All right, here are the AP photos. So you can see here, the AP article says, thieves steal crown jewels in 4 minutes from Louvre Museum. Okay, and I'm going to put the photos I have up there from AP. We have this one. We have, where's the next one? What did I do? What did I do here? So I guess that's the lift up there on the top. Police are looking at it there in that photo. There it is. There's a nice shot of the lift right there coming up. Can zoom in for you on it. Is that, it looks like that's also a shot of it, right? That looks like it must be the lift. Isn't that it? That must be it. Then there's the window. I guess the window that was broken. Look at that shot right there. Wow. Look at this. Look at that from AP. I'm going to turn off the volume from the Gaza shot, by the way. The daylight heist came about 30 minutes after opening, with visitors already inside. Was among the highest profile museum thefts in living memory. The theft unfolded just 250 meters from the Mona Lisa. The one thing that was recovered, the imperial crown of Napoleon III's wife, Empress Eugenie, contains more than 1,300 diamonds. It was found outside the museum, reportedly broken. They said a lift was braced to the Seine-facing facade near a construction zone, the thieves' entry point, and a striking vulnerability for a palace museum. Around 9:30 a.m., several intruders forced a window, cut panes with a disc cutter, and went straight for the glass display cases. The crew entered from outside using a basket lift via the riverfront facade, where construction is underway, to reach the hall with a 23-item royal collection. The target was the gilded Apollon gallery where the crown diamonds are displayed. The thieves smashed 2 display cases and fled on motorbikes. Alarms brought Louvre agents to the room, forcing the intruders to bolt, but the theft was already done. 8 objects were taken. A sapphire diadem, is that how you pronounce it, necklace and single earring from a matching set linked to 19th century French queens Marie Amélie and Hortense, an emerald necklace and earrings from the matching set of Empress Marie Louise, Napoleon Bonaparte's second wife, with a reliquary brooch, Empress Eugenie's diadem, and her large corsage bow brooch, a prized 19th century imperial ensemble. Am I even saying the word diadem right? I don't know that I ever say that word out normally in normal conversation. People are saying I'm saying it right. Hold on.
Diadem.
Oh, I guess I am saying it right. Oh, also, I might have screwed up another name, another name. It is.
Brooch.
Yeah, is it brooch and not brooch? I have to look that up.
Brooch. Brooch.
It's brooch. It's not brooch, it's brooch. Sorry. I said that wrong. Anyways. Sometimes I get things wrong. Daylight robberies during public hours are rare, says AP. Pulling one off inside the Louvre with visitors present ranks among Europe's most audacious robberies in recent history, at least since Dresden's Green Vault Museum in 2019. It also collides with a deeper tension the Louvre staff has struggled to resolve: swelling crowds and stretched staff. Unions say mass tourism leaves too few eyes on too many rooms and creates pressure points where construction zones, freight routes, and visitor flows meet. Security around marquee works remains tight. The Mona Lisa sits behind bulletproof glass in a climate-controlled case, but Sunday's theft underscored that protections are not uniformly as robust across the museum's more than 33,000 objects. The Louvre has a long history of thefts and attempted robberies. The most famous came in 1911 when the Mona Lisa vanished from its frame, stolen by Vincenzo Peruggia and recovered 2 years later. Another notorious episode came in 1956 when a visitor hurled a stone at her world-famous smile, chipping paint near her left elbow and hastening the move to display the work behind protective glass. Recovery may prove difficult. It's unlikely these jewels will ever be seen again, said Tobias Cormand, managing director of 77 Diamonds. Professional crews often break down and recut large recognizable stones to evade detection, effectively erasing their origin, their provenance. Key questions still unanswered are how many people took part in the theft and whether they had inside assistance, authorities said. According to French media, there were 4 perpetrators, 2 dressed as construction workers in yellow safety vests on the lift, and 2 each on a scooter. Authorities are reviewing a CCTV, inspecting the basket lift used to reach the gallery, and interviewing staff who were on site when the museum opened. Wow. Beyond the Light thinks they won't be dismantled. Pete Finns surely had a detailed escape plan ready. They can be anywhere already. Winding Road thinks they're already broken down. BZ thinks they're useless intact. Well, unless somebody really wants them. Maybe if somebody maybe paid for this, organized this whole thing and wants the originals. I don't know. Hey guys, there's one other thing I want to mention today. One of the viewers said, keep an eye out for Lauren Sanchez's new brooch. I have no evidence that I have seen no evidence that Jeff Bezos was involved in this. Larry Potter says some wealthy collector will pick them up. Hey, one other thing I want to mention, which we haven't even gotten a chance to talk about. One other thing I want to mention is, in case you haven't seen it, the U.S. government announced they had struck another boat. So let me show you that real quick. Here, look. Secretary of Defense / Secretary of War Hegseth posted about another boat that the U.S. military has destroyed in the Caribbean. I assume this is in the Caribbean. On October 17th, that's 2 days ago, at the direction of President Trump, the Department of War conducted a lethal kinetic strike on a vessel affiliated with how to pronounce this? Ejército, I think it is. Ejército de Liberación Nacional. Ejército de Liberación Nacional. National Army of Freedom? A designated terrorist organization that was operating in the U.S. Southcom area of responsibility. The vessel was known by our intelligence to be involved in illicit narcotics smuggling, was traveling along a known narco-trafficking route, and was transporting substantial amounts of narcotics, Secretary Hegseth says. There were 3 male narco-terrorists aboard the vessel during the strike, which was conducted in international waters. All 3 terrorists were killed and no U.S. forces were harmed in this strike. These cartels are the Al-Qaeda. These cartels are the Al-Qaeda of the Western Hemisphere, he says, using violence, murder, and terrorism to impose their will, threaten our national security, and poison our people. The United States military will treat these organizations like the terrorists they are. They will be hunted and killed just like Al-Qaeda. DE says at least they provided more details on this strike. Oh, I got to show you what President Trump said about Colombia as well, in case you haven't seen it. I've lost track of how many this is now. Hold on a moment. And you can see the video has been posted. Around six sounds 6 or 7. I'm not sure. Maybe one of the articles mentions it. I don't think President Trump has posted about this one yet. Hold on a moment. Michael Avery thinks it's 7. I'll tell you. I'll tell you right now. I'll try to tell you right now. Give me a moment. Here. You can see here. U.S. forces attacked drug smuggling vessel. 3 killed, says Hegseth. Oh, they don't have details there. Where is it here? Okay, according to CBS News, this is the 7th one. CNN also says it is the 7th one. The 7th boat attacked by the U.S. military in recent weeks. The 7th attack since last month. It's the 7th attack since last month. Now, in case you missed it, President Trump said today this about Colombia. The country Colombia. Why is this not working? I have it here. Here's what President Trump said earlier today about the president of the country Colombia. There's a typo here. It should be C-O-L-O, Colombia. President Gustavo Petro of Colombia is an illegal drug leader, strongly encouraging the massive production of drugs in big and small fields all over Colombia. Well, it's not a typo because Colombia is misspelled several times. Anyways, he means the country Colombia. It has become the biggest business in Colombia by far, and Petro does nothing to stop it despite large-scale payments and subsidies from the USA that are nothing more than a long-term ripoff of America. As of today, says President Trump, these payments or any other form of payment or subsidies will no longer be made to the country of Colombia. The purpose of this drug production is the sale of massive amounts of product into the United States, causing death, destruction, and havoc. Petro, a low-rated and very unpopular leader with a fresh mouth towards America, better close up these killing fields immediately, or the United States will close them up for him, and it won't be done nicely. So President Trump threatening to send, I guess, U.S. military resources, or CIA resources, I don't know, into Colombia, or conduct airstrikes or missile strikes or something. He says he's cutting off all U.S. funding to Colombia, and he's threatening to carry out strikes on what he says are killing fields, drug-related, I guess, sites. Then he says, thank you to attention for this matter. Maybe we'll do one more quick flash poll. Our viewer exclamation point says the Real War on Drugs 2025 edition. Will Trump attack sites in Colombia? Will Trump attack alleged drug sites in Colombia? That's our poll question. Hold on. Give me one moment here. Now I'm hearing two of myself. Why? Oh, I know why. Okay, so I said flash poll, quick poll. Will Trump attack alleged drug sites in the country of Colombia? On YouTube, the vote is 76% say yes. Well, that's high. We have a big difference between YouTube and Twitch. Twitch says about 50-50 on Twitch. 75-25 on YouTube, yes. About 50-50 on Twitch. 53 yes on Twitch. All right, this was a flash poll. So that I wanted to mention. And then, you know, the other thing we haven't talked about, Ann Breedenstein thinks he's looking for a war. Our viewer Moon72 says China is the worst offender in the battle against these drugs. David and Debbie Wiener says he would only do it maybe if he attacked Venezuela and it was going well, then he will maybe attack. Matt Dog says, I love Trump, but it's time for him to start focusing on getting our economy in shape, grocery prices down, and gas. Hang on a moment here. Thank you, Amy Crago, who mentioned the lift thing in the Louvre robbery and said it's an external ladder for hoisting pianos and furniture, quite common in Europe. I use them in my job relocating household goods worldwide. Thank you, Amy Crago, for your support. Thank you, Ponyboy Pancharello. Thank you. Thank you, Buddy Love. Thank you, Sydney, for the gift memberships. It's very nice of you. Thanks, Gemini Rose, our member. The other thing we should discuss real quick is the people being repatriated from the survivors of the attack on the submersible. I just want to mention that real quick. Hang on a moment here. Oh, you know what I had? Hold on. You know what I had and I forgot I had? Is I had footage from outside the Louvre. From AFP. Let me just show you a little of that really quick. So this was, again, there was a robbery at the Louvre Museum. We talked about this a bunch today. One of the most famous museums in the world. And I'm not going to show you this whole thing. I just want to show you a few scenes. This is from earlier today. Outside the Louvre Museum. With some different angles here.
For the whole day. For the whole day.
I'm just skipping ahead here. See some tape up. Didn't know if they had the crane on this or the lift on this video. I don't see it. But they closed the museum for the day. Empty in the middle of the day. Okay, anyways. Meant to show you that from AFP. There's that. And then I wanted to mention this. Yes, U.S. repatriating survivors of alleged drug boat strike to Colombia, Ecuador. So let me just mention that. We talked about it a little, I think, yesterday, but I just want to mention a little bit more. Yukon wins NC, thinks we should stop blowing up random boats. I mean, I think the U.S. government would say they're not random. Hey, look. So here's this. You can see here. U.S. repatriating survivors of alleged drug boat strike to Colombia, Ecuador. So remember, Defense Secretary Hegseth said today when he announced the 7th boat destroyed in roughly a month by the U.S. military. He said they were like Al-Qaeda, right? That was his statement. That was his statement. He said, just to repeat his own words, he said, these cartels are the Al-Qaeda of the Western Hemisphere, using violence, murder, and terrorism to impose their will, threaten our national security, and poison our people. The U.S. military will treat these organizations like the terrorists they are. They will be hunted and killed just like Al-Qaeda. Now, it was reported by many outlets that the U.S. is repatriating 2 survivors of an alleged drug boat strike to Colombia and Ecuador. Now, would they do this with Al-Qaeda members? But maybe they think that these two are different for some reason. The U.S. is repatriating 2 alleged drug traffickers to Colombia and Ecuador after military forces attacked their vessel in the Caribbean on Thursday, President Trump said. Facing questions about the legality of the strikes, the Trump administration has sought to justify the killing of more than 24 people since the operations began last month by claiming the U.S. is in an armed conflict with Latin American drug cartels that are linked to Venezuelan President Maduro's effort to dispatch drugs and criminals to the U.S. This article was written, I think, before the new one was announced and before the Al-Qaeda comments by Secretary Hegseth. Trump said 2 other alleged traffickers were killed in the strike, and the 2 survivors would be returned to their home countries for detention and prosecution. The Colombian President Gustavo Petro said Colombia received the Colombian national who survived on Saturday, expressing relief he was alive and that any potential prosecution would be handled according to the law. It was not immediately clear when the Ecuadorian national would be repatriated. They do not have serious injuries from the strike, according to the Post. Trump said that U.S. intelligence showed that boat, which was I believe, a partial submersible. President Trump said the boat was carrying fentanyl and other drugs without providing evidence and suggested tens of thousands of American lives were saved by the interdiction. It is yet unclear if the multinational crew of alleged drug traffickers on that vessel has ties to Venezuelan criminals or terrorism groups. But the release of 2 detained suspects further undermines the administration's justifications and suggests the crew was released to avoid extended legal scrutiny, experts said, according to the Washington Post. Experts say that Colombian and Ecuadorian drug runners are focused on cocaine, while the vast majority of fentanyl bound for the U.S. is trafficked through Mexico. In previous armed conflicts, such as the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, during which U.S. troops came in contact with enemy fighters and there were survivors, those fighters were taken prisoner. In drug interdictions that occurred before Trump began ordering armed strikes on boats, drug runners were detained by the U.S. law enforcement and charged. There is no congressional authorization for armed conflict in the region, and the legal basis to detain suspects is murky. Offloading the detainees and avoiding military or federal proceedings may have been the best option to avoid scrutiny of whether there is an armed conflict in the first place, said Brian Finucane, a former State Department legal advisor for counterterrorism and military force operations. If these cases of these 2 survivors had ended up in court, they may have required the administration to disclose sensitive intelligence and a possible lack of clarity around the boat's cargo and occupants, said Finucane. Finucane said, I expect that smart lawyers in the administration may have finally pointed this out and convinced the administration not to pursue that option. People familiar with Thursday's strike said the suspects were targeted in a semi-submersible, a vessel that moves through the water partially submerged but cannot fully dive like a submarine. These homemade narco subs, as they are sometimes called, have operated in the region for years but are rarely used, suggesting drug traffickers may be shifting to slower but more covert means in an attempt to evade increasing U.S. surveillance efforts. Just to mention this as well, as many of you know, the boat strikes have coincided with a military buildup in the Caribbean, including U.S. warships, special operations personnel, and fighter jets. The administration has taken an increasingly hostile stance toward Maduro, whom Trump has accused of sending drugs and violent criminals into the U.S. Washington doubled the bounty up to $50 million for information leading to the arrest or conviction of Maduro on violating U.S. drug laws. The buildup of U.S. forces has fueled speculation that Trump is ultimately focused on removing Maduro from power. But the disclosure that the U.S. has targeted alleged drug traffickers from other countries could further spur debate on Capitol Hill and among human rights groups of whether the strikes amount to extrajudicial killings. So this article has an expert who thinks that maybe the Trump administration decided to send these 2 survivors back to their home countries to avoid issues that might have come up for the administration if they carried out legal proceedings against them in the U.S. or held them as prisoners, or the military held them as prisoners. Remember, Trump posted about this, what was it, yesterday, I think? And he said, where is it here? I know because I reposted it. Right here. Hang on. I'm having an issue with True Social playing the video. Here, look. Right here. Right here. I got it. So Trump said, He said, "It was my great honor to destroy a very large drug-carrying submarine that was navigating towards the United States on a well-known narco-trafficking transit route. U.S. intelligence confirmed this vessel was loaded up with mostly fentanyl," he said, and other illegal narcotics. There were 4 known narco-terrorists on board the vessel. 2 of them were killed. At least 25,000 Americans would die if I allowed this submarine to come ashore. The 2 surviving terrorists are being returned to their countries of origin, Ecuador and Colombia, for detention and prosecution. No U.S. forces were harmed in this strike. Under my watch, the U.S. will not tolerate narco-terrorists trafficking illegal drugs by land or by sea. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Violet Rock says curbing trafficking is paramount for Americans, but if Trump's border policies are as strong as he says, border enforcement should stop most of it? Callie Raven thinks drug dealers just find another way to smuggle drugs. They always do. As long as people are buying drugs, they will be there. Broken Gaming says if they were drug traffickers, why would we let them free? CJ says if I'm a narco or legitimately anyone, I wouldn't be driving any boats anywhere close right now. Flat Broke Productions says, I don't believe the cartels are political terrorists, but they may become so now. Cutest T says they have no basis of evidence or probable cause. They see a boat near those countries and assume they're drug smugglers. We don't know the evidence. The evidence has not been publicly released for these strikes that I'm aware of. JD63 says evidence is what we need. Lachino thinks there is no evidence. So we will certainly be looking at this story. But I mean, again, Secretary Hegseth announced another boat was destroyed on Thursday. That's 7 boats destroyed, I think around the last month. Because, the first strike was September 1st. According to Wikipedia, the first one was September 1st. So basically, in around a month and a half, there have been 7 vessels destroyed by the U.S. military. Orion says military almost never posted evidence about, I think Orion said, attacking terrorists, so why is this different? Paul Tarsis says, what do you need the evidence for so you feel better? Yeah, we talked about this earlier. Jasmine Beatty thinks they always need to release the evidence. Trump calls Colombia's Petro an illegal drug leader and announces an end to U.S. aid to the country. Oh, by the way, Pete Hegseth, I should have looked this up. When Pete Hegseth announced that there was this boat blown up on Thursday, he said the vessel was associated with a Colombian gang, the National Liberation Army, that has been in conflict with Petro's government. He did not provide any evidence for his assertions. So again, that's interesting. the boat that Secretary Hegseth today announced was blown up on Thursday, he said was associated with a Colombian rebel group. Oh, I guess it's Friday, he said it was? I keep saying Thursday. Did Hegseth say it was Friday? Where is it here? October 17th. Yeah, Friday he said it was, not Thursday. I'm sorry. I got my dates wrong. Hegseth said it was Friday that the boat was blown up. Oh, Petro posted a response to Trump, by the way, I guess, after Trump's statement today. Was it today? Let's see. Yes, look, so here's the response from the Colombian president to Trump today. Mr. Trump, Colombia has never been rude to the United States. On the contrary, it has deeply loved its culture. But you are rude and ignorant about Colombia. Read as your, I don't know how to pronounce this, charge d'affaires in Colombia did 100 years of solitude, and I assure you, you will learn something from the solitude. I'm not in business like you. I'm a socialist. I believe in aid and the common good, and in the common goods of humanity, the greatest of all, life endangered by your oil. I am not a businessman, much less a drug trafficker. There is no greed in my heart. I could never relate to greed. A mobster is a human being who embodies the best of capitalism, greed, and I am the opposite, a lover of life, and therefore a millennial warrior of life. Greed eludes us because life is more powerful. And then that comes after Trump today called Petro an illegal drug leader. Also, Petro said today on X, trying to promote peace in Colombia is not being a drug trafficker. He also said today on X, in response to Trump, Trump is deceived by his advisors. The main enemy that drug trafficking had in Colombia was the one who exposed its ties to Colombia's political establishment in the 21st century. That was me. I recommend Trump read Colombia carefully and determine which side the drug traffickers are on and which side the Democrats are on. Maybe Democrats is a domestic term there. Also, yesterday, Colombian President Petro claimed that the U.S. had killed a fisherman from Colombia. Why, I wonder, he said, does a national newscast not care that a U.S. missile killed a humble Colombian fisherman in Santa Marta? The U.S. destroyed a fishing family, he said, that will host, in the city that will host the Latin American and European Summit. The United States has invaded our national territory, fired a missile to kill a humble fisherman, and destroyed his family, his children. This is Bolivar's homeland, and they are murdering his children with bombs. The United States has violated Colombian national territory and murdered an honest Colombian worker. Let the sword of Bolivar be raised. So that is the Colombian president claiming yesterday that the U.S., in one of its strikes on a boat, had killed a Colombian fisherman. I don't know where this is all going. By the way, AP says, unlike Venezuela, Colombia is a longtime U.S. ally and the top recipient of American assistance in the region. Trump announced today that he's cutting off all aid to Colombia. Evelyn in Maine mentioned something like that too. Colombia received an estimated $230 million in the U.S. budget year that ended September 30th, a drop from recent years that exceeded $700 million. Petro, Colombia's first leftist president, has repeatedly feuded with Trump this year, says AP. Yesterday, Petro accused the U.S. government of assassination, pointing to a September 16th strike that he said killed a Colombian fisherman. AP says Elizabeth Dickinson, senior analyst for the Andes region at International Crisis Group, said it is befuddling and profoundly unwise of the United States to alienate its strongest military partner in Latin America at a moment when tension between Washington and Venezuela are at its highest point in recent years. Colombia lost significant funding when Trump slashed the U.S. Agency for International Development earlier this year. Again, Trump today announced an end to U.S. aid to Colombia. So much going on. Hey, thanks so much to a viewer from Estonia, Marek Ounpu, if I'm pronouncing that right. Marek from Estonia. Thanks, Marek. Thanks, Rico Rito, who thinks 700 million aid is a lot. Am I tripping, says Rico Rico. Confidence in God says, why are we giving South America any money? They are corrupt. Ruby Sandwich thinks Trump is a criminal. Old Valen thinks Petro is corrupt and narco as heck. West thinks Trump is a war criminal. We're going to have to see where things go with Trump in Venezuela and Trump and Colombia. And again, a seventh boat blown up today in the last roughly month and a half. Oh, the White House reposted Stephen Miller, who commented on Pete Hegseth announcing that a seventh boat had been blown up. Stephen Miller, White House Deputy Chief of Staff, I believe, said foreign terrorist enemies operating in our hemisphere will be destroyed. These organizations field armies, control territory and travel, seize commerce, violently extort judicial and political power, rape, maim, kidnap, torture, slaughter, assassinate, and mass murder Americans. Pete Hegseth today called these cartels the Al-Qaeda of the Western Hemisphere. So where is all of this going, guys? I have no idea. All right. Guys, I still am in Madrid. So, I think, oh, by the way, our viewer Donna Simmons says, I believe the staff did intervene and stop them from taking more and made safe the visitors. Yeah, one of the articles we read, Donna Simmons mentioned that the staff was alerted by alarms and then they came and the thieves left. I'm not sure if the thieves left before they wanted to. Maybe their plan was to in the Louvre was to be there until the staff came in. I feel like the AP article might have mentioned something about that. Where is it here? Thanks for writing in, Donna Simmons. The AP article said that alarms brought Louvre agents to the room, forcing the intruders to bolt. All right, look, well, I am still in Madrid. 9:29 p.m. here in Madrid. I'm still here in Madrid on U.S. time, but we have been updating you on these stories. Big news today. We were earlier. If you missed it, we covered. Israel said that Hamas terrorists attacked Israeli soldiers in Gaza today, killing 2 soldiers and injuring 3 killing 2 Israeli soldiers and injuring 3 Israeli soldiers and injuring 3 Israeli soldiers. As a result, Israel said it carried out dozens of strikes on Hamas targets in Gaza, and it said it had temporarily stopped aid going into Gaza. Now Israel says it is back to enforcing the ceasefire again. So it sounds like Israel is saying that the attacks are over and that they're going to let aid in again. It sounds like. But we'll have to see where all this goes. Certainly didn't look like a ceasefire today. Gaza, Hamas said it had been denied having knowledge of the attack in Rafah that Israel alleged. Hamas claimed that it had been cut off from that area by the fighting in March and doesn't know what's going on there. So Hamas Hamas did not take responsibility for that attack. Instead, it had been cut off from its forces in that area. Anyways, so we'll have to see what happens with this ceasefire. But it certainly did not look like a ceasefire today. We talked about that insane robbery in the Louvre. If you missed it, you can rewind and hear about that. We talked about another U.S. announcing, Pete Hegseth announcing the 7th boat blown up. I think this was in the Caribbean. It said the SOCOM area of where it operates in, U.S. SOCOM area in international waters. And SOCOM operates, I was trying to find the area of operations. And the group he mentioned that he said was involved was a Colombian group from the country Colombia. Wait, I'm not SOCOM. Do I have that wrong? I think I have SOCOM wrong. Hold on. Just to clarify, Hegseth said Southern Command. No, not Southern Command. Hegseth said U.S. Southcom, not SOCOM. Southcom. U.S. Southern Command. They operate in Central and South America, in the Caribbean. Not SOCOM, Southcom, I'm sorry. Also responsible for ensuring the defense of Panama Canal, says Wikipedia. Southern Command. Anyways, I don't have an exact location for this boat yet, but it's the U.S. Southcom area of responsibility, and the vessel, according to Defense Secretary Hegseth, was affiliated with a group from Colombia. So it sounds like maybe this was in the Caribbean again. And a 7th boat destroyed in roughly a month and a half. And President Trump announcing that he had cut off aid to Colombia and calling the president of Colombia an illegal drug leader. So all of this going on today, we've been catching you up on. But I think for right now, we have done what we needed to do today. There's like an alarm going on outside or something. But anyways, So I'm going to start wrapping up the stream. But if there's huge news later, we can get on the air and cover it. It's been so busy here the last couple weeks. Especially the last week and a half or 2 weeks. Been busy. So I really appreciate you guys tuning in to the broadcast. Thank you for joining me. And we will keep covering stuff as it happens. And so if you want, subscribe, follow Agenda Free TV. We cover all kinds of live breaking news without an agenda. Agenda Free TV. And I will post updates on my X account as things happen. At Lookner on X. You can follow me there if you're on X, at Lookner. I post there when I'm off the air and when I'm on the air. And make sure you turn on the notifications for the channel. I don't know when big news is going to happen, but if you don't want to miss a stream, if you want to get a notification sent to you whenever we go live, we have our own notification system. It works awesome. It's free. We do it through Discord. The mods will post a link to it in the chat. You can also find the link in the description of this video on YouTube and Facebook. Sign up for our notifications so you get sent the notification when we go live. But I really appreciate everybody tuning in. Also appreciate everybody who's been sending me updates, posting in the chat, letting me read your comments on the air, asking questions. Thank you. And also a huge thanks to our moderators. You guys are awesome. A lot of people in the chat today as usual. And we can have a chat with people of different views because we have mods to keep things under control and civil and respectful. So thank you so much, moderators. Over there on YouTube, for example, Janet B., Ruth Krafasi, everybody else who has been over there as well today, thank you. On Twitch, Cerrero, Good Luck Duck, Idaho Star, Matthew Kohai 3, Sarah, Riff Tracks, Surly Dev, huge thanks. Facebook, K. Lowry Body, Margaret Riley, Shannon Davis Hughes, Linda Bell Larry, and Misha on X. Thank you so much to all of our moderators. Thank you. Oh, I also want to thank everybody who donated too. I really appreciate that. It's really nice of you. You are the ones who allow this channel to exist, who allow me to buy news footage and other news content. So thank you so much. I owe a couple thank yous to people I didn't thank before. Jason D. in Colorado, thank you. Marek Unpu from Estonia, and Elizabeth Abel and Susu from Estonia as well. Thank you so much. Miss Curvy from the UK, thank you. I thanked Rico already. Oh, thanks Rico again. I owe you another thank you. Rico says, does aid cut to Colombia tie to cartel hunt from Trump administration? Everyone knows Colombia is a big source of drugs, not unlikely. Well, I don't know. I don't think the aid is intended to go to Colombia to help produce drugs. I don't know specifically what the U.S. Colombia aid goes to. Maybe some of it is earmarked for fighting drugs. I would have to research on what U.S. Colombian aid is earmarked towards. That's a whole other issue. So it's an interesting question. I'm not going to get into it right now, but that is an interesting question. I would have to research what U.S. aid to Colombia has been earmarked towards in past years. But that's a road I don't want to go down right now. Thank you, Rico. I really appreciate it. Also, thanks to CC143 for your support on Twitch. Thank you. And everybody else who donated. If you ever want to donate, you can go to agendafree.tv, agendafree.tv. But again, huge thanks for being here. And for, my brain's not working. Huge thanks for being here, but also huge thanks to everybody who supported the channel today. That's very kind of you. I did also mention that Fox News was reporting that the Secret Service said it had discovered a hunting stand within line of sight to where Trump gets off of Air Force One in Palm Beach. I did mention that Fox News also said that a law enforcement source told them that the stand appeared to have been set up months ago. So I don't know if this alleged stand was really set up by somebody who was trying to attack Donald Trump. Maybe it wasn't. I have no idea. But we talked about it. Robert Kennedy mentioned that story again. Thanks, Robert, for writing in. But we talked about that earlier. I posted a link to the Fox story on my X account. Let's see here. A reminder, another good way to know when we're going live is to follow us on X. For those of you on X, at Agenda Free TV, I always post there when we go live. I post updates about the channel there as well. At Agenda Free TV, you can follow there. Also, we do have a chat, which is free, where you can chat with other viewers when we're not live. It's on Discord. A lot of our viewers like doing it. The Agenda Free TV Discord fan chat. Check it out. It's free. It's the same link as the link to the free notifications. And also, thanks so much to our Discord mods for all you do. Really appreciate our Discord mods. I also want to mention, for those who watch on YouTube, I would suggest turning on the YouTube notifications. That's another good way to find out when we're live. But if you watch us on YouTube, just to let you know, this is how you turn the YouTube notifications on. You need to subscribe to the channel. Then you have to click the bell and choose all notifications. So again, subscribe, click the bell, choose all notifications. Hey, shout out to our Facebook subscribers too, who support the channel, like Robert Rial II, Chuck Mosca, Sharon Klassen-Goslin, Jennifer Ellers, Margaret Riley, Kay Lowry Body, Shannon Davis Hughes. And all of our other Facebook subscribers. Thanks for subscribing and supporting the channel over there. And our Twitch subscribers too, like Wall Street and Shaggy, Douthis, A Stoic Pause. Thanks Raising Cain for your support on Twitch as well. Thanks Raising Cain. Graybeard Games, CC, thanks for subscribing on Twitch. Shrocky. Mr. Clam, 73, thanks for subscribing. Devil Doc, Fargo Bitwise, K Cloud, all of our other subscribers on Twitch, thank you so much. Oh, thanks to Hoover Maneuver, our member on YouTube, and all of our other YouTube members. Confidence in God, Teddy Boy, CAC813, Georgia Culture, Chip Whitley, UV Lightning, JD63, M. Morris, Lord of the Zings, Callie Raven, Peep TB God, Patricia Grace, Babs, The Silver Swifty, Georgia Culture, all of our other YouTube members, thank you. Thanks to everybody else watching. Nina Hicks on Facebook, Audrey Burbank, Nick Kakil, Nick Kakil, Ray Krajenhagen, thanks for watching, Jamie Lingerich, Paula Thompson, Sky Mango, Remove Glazers now on Twitch, thanks for watching over there, La Linea, Distant Galaxy, 100 subs, thanks. Billion XXX. Grant 74P, Stumpy Stump. And everybody else for watching too. Bella Italian, thanks for being a member. Evelyn in Maine. Granite Man. Stace Shin. Stace Shin thinks this is going to lead to the end of the ceasefire. Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. But certainly, big story today in the Middle East that we were covering is the fighting between Hamas and Gaza and Israel that was happening today. Hopefully it's over for now, but I don't know. You guys seem skeptical that this ceasefire is going to hold. Thanks Lisa Cacciatore, Princess Kidda, Rithlee for watching, Lithrone, and everybody else. Jennifer Taylor, Random Randy. All right, we're wrapping this up. Again, if there's big news later, I will come on the air. But for now, we are wrapping up our live news update stream. Thank you so much for joining. That's it for now. We will see you soon with more live breaking news coverage right here at Agenda Free TV.